Nick, E3 Day 2, and welcome to Pocket for Tuesday, the 14th of June, 2016, E3 Day 2. You thought there was a lot of news yesterday. Boy, howdy. There is so much more today. Microsoft, PC Gamer, Ubisoft, and Sony all had their press conferences today, and we cover pretty much every word that was said out of every mouth on stage. So strap yourselves in. We're going long. Alright guys, today's episode is huge, so I'm not gonna waste your time and my time by telling you what you already know. You need to go to youtube.com/ggpocket and subscribe to the new Pocket YouTube channel over there, because today we're cutting 4 sweet minutes off the back of this episode, and that's where all the juicy Sony stuff's gonna be. So if you wanna see the rest of this episode, you need to go to www.com. No, it's the other one. It's www.youtube.com/ggpocket and subscribe and watch the episode there. In 4 days' time, Pocket will not exist anymore. Oh, well, it will. It just won't exist on this channel. It'll be on the Pocket YouTube channel. So go subscribe. All right, Microsoft started us off today with the announcement that the Xbox One has been on Jenny Craig. The Xbox One S is 40% smaller, outputs 4K, has HDR gaming, a 2 terabyte hard drive, a streamlined controller, and can be positioned vertically. It's also whiter than me and sexy as hell. Like me. The S will be available in August for $299 US. Rod Ferguson casually dropped that Gears of War 4 is one of the first games to utilize a new initiative called Xbox Play Anywhere. And pay attention to that phrase, because you're going to hear it pretty much throughout the entirety of Microsoft's press conference. Xbox One Play Anywhere allows gamers to purchase a single digital copy of a game, which will then work on both Xbox One and PC Windows 10. You can share game saves between them, and it will support multiplayer across the platforms. If every Microsoft exclusive has this, and it seems like they do, then Microsoft are really lessening my need to ever use my Xbox One, which is, good and bad news for me. But for those of you who have an Xbox, who don't have a PC but your friends do, this is awesome news for you. We also saw more of the Gears of War campaign, which showed us some impressive lighting and weather effects, the new enemy, and new ways to butcher them. Ultimately though, it still looks like the same old Gears gameplay. Hopefully they'll have more than just a fresh coat of paint to make the game fun. Also, Marcus is back, and he looks like an even older penis.
Welcome home, James.
There's also this Gears of War themed Elite controller if Gears of War is the only game you ever want to play. I like the idea of the interchangeable D-pad though, and the Elite controller that has the gun icons. Just tell me that. For those of you who wanted even more Gears of War content, General Ram is also making his way to the fighting game Killer Instinct, another game which will soon utilize Xbox Play Anywhere. Forza Horizon 3 was announced, and it's set in the far-off exotic land of Australia. Crikey, mate! Get a gum tree up ya! The game will feature the largest roster of vehicles in the series' history, and will feature the diverse range of environments Australia is known for, including the outback, forests, great ocean roads, and those few cities we have. It also supports up to 4-player drop-in, drop-out, play anywhere co-op. I can't wait to experience virtual Sydney at peak hour. Action-adventure game Recore was up next and showed a stylistic trailer that introduced us to the robotic characters and their abilities in the game. It launches on the 13th of September, but given it's being made by Mighty No. 9's Inafune, the game will actually come out after all your grandchildren are dead. We got to see some gameplay from Final Fantasy 15 featuring a battle between an emo boy band and an enormous bald turtle man. This was actually the weakest part of the conference for me. The gameplay looks boring, just some guy constantly getting hit by a huge hand and then running in circles. This is a great argument for why you shouldn't do demos live. He nearly died about 6 times. Also, it shows the importance of scale. That enemy was so big, it just looked like he was fighting a hand. And not just a hand, just a giant finger. And there's nothing scary about a finger, unless it's coming at you from your doctor. It will release on the 30th of September. Ubisoft briefly popped up ahead of their conference with an announcement for the Division expansion Underground. It releases first on Xbox and PC on June 28th. It will then be released on PS4 on August the 2nd. I'll let you guess where Underground takes place. Also, the expansion's tagline is "The fight never ends," aka everything you do in this game is pointless and for naught. Battlefield 1 will be on the Xbox on the 21st of October, but available to EA Access members on the 13th. And the Xbox One software is also about to receive a few new updates, including background music, Cortana, and language choices regardless of your region. Microsoft went on to say that the challenge people keep talking about is finding places for gamers to talk about video games. And that's just categorically untrue. We've got Reddit and Twitter and Facebook, the Pocketeers Steam group and Facebook group, link is in the description. But they're adding their own community hub that you can struggle to type on called Clubs. Something we do need though is a group finder, and they're adding that as well. Looking for group is like a want ad for multiplayer, which is a great idea. And finally, Arena on Xbox Live is a tournament hub to find, create, and play in competitive gaming events. Moving on, and Minecraft's The Friendly update will allow cross-platform play between PC and mobile devices through Xbox Live. Dedicated servers are exactly what every Minecraft player wants their mum or dad to set up for them, and now they can do it themselves through Minecraft Realms. Because it's E3, John Carmack also rocked up with a phone strapped to his face and no one batted an eyelid. Maybe John did, but we couldn't tell. Official texture packs and add-ons are being released for Windows 10 and Pocket Edition. These are basically Minecraft official mods and allow you to change how certain characters and items look and behave. We're also getting personalized Xbox controllers available through something called Xbox Design Lab. Things then got indie as Limbo developers teased a new title called Inside, which will release June 29th, and to celebrate, you can go download Limbo on Xbox One right now for freezies. And you should go do it, because that game is amazing. Most of you probably already know that, but there's definitely like a kid out there who hasn't played it yet. It's like, yeah, I'm a kid. I want to see another kid get impaled on a spike. This leads us into a montage of some of the indie games coming soon. You got your Cuphead, Outlast, Deliver Us to the Moon, Flint Hook, Far, Slime Rancher, Shadow Tactic, The Culling, Figment, Beacon, Stardew Valley, Hand of Fate 2, For the King Raiders, Bloodstained, Yooka-Laylee, Everspace. And players who bought Ark Survival Evolved on Xbox can soon play it on PC with Xbox Play Anywhere. I was then very pleased to see We Happy Few, a first-person adventure game set in an alternate version of the 60s where everyone's on drugs. Are we sure this is an alternate version? I need more Bioshock-style unsettling worlds in my life, and this one oozes personality and some really f***ed up scenes involving rats. It will be available on Xbox Game Preview on the 26th of July. CD Projekt Red then came out and officially announced Gwent the Witcher 3 card game. The core mechanics will remain, but they've tweaked and updated the game to make it more fun as a standalone title. It will feature cross-platform play and have a large single-player campaign. Out of the many collectible card games coming out, I feel like this is one that actually has a chance. Head to playgwent.com to register for the closed beta in September. And from card battles to real battles and a cinematic fight between Street Fighter's Akuma and Tekken's Heihachi, transition between gameplay and cutscenes to announce Tekken 7 for Xbox One, coming out early 2017. Xbox Live Gold members can also download Tag Tournament 2 right now. The announcement trailer for Dead Rising 4 showed that not even the apocalypse can end the reign of social media, because how else will everyone know how creative you are at killing zombie hordes? Platinum Games' dragon riding action adventure Scalebound contains the biggest boss fight they've ever made, and it looks absolutely insane. What's up with those headphones though? And Rare's pirate simulator Sea of Thieves allows you to live the pirate life alongside other players in an open world. To illustrate how the game works, Rare showed gameplay from 3 separate pirate crews. All players were completely new to Sea of Thieves, and it was a neat way to show off how the game can be enjoyed with friends in a real situation. In it, you can see typical pirate activities such as sailing, pillaging other boats, binge drinking, and drowning. Looks great. More boat games in general, please. State of Decay 2 is coming to Xbox One in 2017. This one is also rocking Xbox Play Anywhere, and an announcement trailer for the RTS Halo Wars 2 showed us a battle between the UNSC and a new enemy called the Banished. Coming to Xbox and PC on February 21st, 2017, you can play the beta on Xbox all this week, and this is also Xbox Play Anywhere. We will check that out for our first play tomorrow on our Pocket YouTube channel, youtube.com/ggpocket. And finally, Microsoft teased their new Scorpio console, coming out in 2017. It's rocking 4K support, 60Hz, 8 CPU cores, 6 teraflops of GPU, and support for VR. Apparently the Xbox One and the just announced Xbox One S won't be left behind, despite this console being the most powerful console ever created by mankind, and therefore the one you'll want if you want to play all the new games at their best. Yeah, we'll see what happens in 2017. But they are saying they announced the Scorpio today to allow developers to take advantage of all the new specs right now for games they're currently developing. And definitely not because Sony also have a new console in the works. But all in all, this is how you do a press conference, guys. Super slick event, great titles to show, and a sneak peek at hardware and software improvements. Really, the only thing it was missing was a giant stuff up by someone on stage and a brand new IP that we didn't know existed. But what made this conference so good was that so much of what they were talking about is coming out this year. Alright, that's Microsoft. Next up, it was the PC Gamer Show, and they've seen a set upgrade from last year. Also, thankfully, no Mountain Dew. The PC is learning. First up was a look at Dawn of War 3 gameplay, which looks almost as epic as its announcement trailer. At times, things got a tad framey, but that's probably because they hadn't installed the latest drivers. It will be available in 2017 for PC. We then saw a short reveal trailer from Don't Starve, Mark of the Ninja, and Invisible Ink developer Clay Entertainment showing off their new game, Oxygen Not Included. It's set for a late 2016, early 2017 release, and the trailer really says nothing, but it's a Clay game, so it's gonna be great. Ark Survival Evolved lumbered its way on stage, showing off their new updates called Redwood, Primal Survival, and Primitive. You got your flying dinosaurs, you got your Ewoks, and apparently the biggest dinosaur the game will ever have. Phrasing that does seem to limit themselves a bit for what they can do with dinosaur sizing from here on out. It's only downhill from here, dinosaurs. Moving on from that, and we saw an Oculus Rift game called Giant Cop, where the player will control a massive, giant human thing whose job it is to keep control of a city called Micro City by hurling fire trucks at its people. Just like Clover Moore does. Sounds ridiculous and fun. We got a new trailer and gameplay for action, cross RPG, cross city builder, cross RTS, cross feudal simulation, Mount and Blade 2, and we also saw The Surge, which is touted as a sci-fi version of Dark Souls. Following that was the FPS game Lawbreakers. The game looks super fast-paced with lots of movement options and verticality. Director of the game Cliff Bleszinski stated that if Overwatch is Street Fighter, then we're going to be Mortal Kombat. Not sure if comparing yourself to the less successful franchise is the best way to go, Cliffy, but whatever. A public alpha for the game will be available from June 18th, and the game will be heading into early access in August. A quick stop for hardware, and 2 graphics cards from AMD based on the company's new Polaris architecture were announced, and they will be aimed at the budget-conscious gamer. Then back to games, and Life is Strange developer Dotnod showed off Vampire. A decidedly more violent game than its predecessor, it features a protagonist who is transitioning into a vampire world during the events of World War I. It releases on the consoles and the PCs next year. Killing Floor Incursion got a content update, which is live right now, but we also got to see a new Killing Floor, Serious Sam, and Superhot for Oculus Rift. Next, we saw a whole bunch of games from some respected developers. Obsidian Entertainment showed off their new isometric CRPG Tyranny. Layer of Fear dev Blooper Team showed off Observer, a cyberpunk horror which lets you hack people's minds. We got a quick look at Drop Zone, an RTS cross-MOBA game by Sparky Pants Studio. Arma 3 is getting new DLC named Apex, and that will be released on the 11th of July. Bulkhead and Square Enix showed off The Turing Test, a sci-fi first-person puzzler. A new trailer for Overland, which is essentially XCOM but on a road trip, dropped, and Spruiked the new beta, which is running right now. We saw a sci-fi MMO that basically resembles Minecraft in space called Dual Universe. They should have called it Spacecraft. New World Interactive are taking us back to World War II with a sequel to their hardcore shooter, Insurgency, with their new title, Day of Infamy. You can join early access of that game in July. We saw a pseudo-sequel to sword-fighting game Chivalry named Mirage, which takes what made Chivalry great and adds magic. So expect swords with magic. A beta will be available for that game soon. Mages of Mystaria is also about magic, but focuses more on crafting spells and solving puzzles. That releases in 2017. And finally, Warframe will receive a sports-like mode that kind of resembles Quidditch. All right, guys, we're halfway through. Let's take a breather. It's thing of the day. Thing of the day. It was celebrities galore at the Battlefield 1 multiplayer launch at E3. EA hosted a stream of the game featuring 64 players, many of whom were well-known celebrities, including Snoop Dogg, Zac Efron, and Jamie Foxx. The celebs sucked though, with the best among them being Wiz Khalifa, who got an impressive kill-death ratio of 2 to 11 and just over 7,000 points. Love is a Battlefield. Pat Benatar wasn't there, but I bet she would've won. the day. Alright guys, now it's time for Ubisoft, who started off their conference warming up the world's best gaming journalists and Bajo and Goose with a ridiculous dance number courtesy of the Just Dance series. The surprisingly popular series has made an inevitable sequel coming out on all current consoles, PC, and is the first third-party title confirmed for the Nintendo NX. We learnt more about Ghost Recon Wildlands, which asks the totally hypothetical question, what if a drug cartel took over the entirety of Bolivia? According to the lead designer, the world is the biggest open world Ubisoft have ever created, which isn't too surprising once you see how sparse the Bolivian landscape is. Thankfully, you'll have a wide range of vehicles, including helicopters, jeeps, and dirt bikes to get you to and away from the action. It looks like the game rewards calculated and methodical teamwork, similar to the recent Rainbow Six Siege. Which is totally okay in my book, since I make John do most of my killing in and out of games anyway. Trey Parker and Matt Stone arrived to talk about the new South Park game, The Fractured But Whole, which follows the events of Stick for Truth, but now parodies superhero movies. We saw a few of the classes you can choose from, and the fun but basic combat system has been seriously updated with a grid-based movement system, cover, and the ability to alter turn orders. Plus, the trailer poked fun at Marvel, DC, and their film franchises. It's a really funny little trailer. The game will be out on December 6th. A trailer for more Division DLC called Survival was shown, and it seems to focus on heavy weather. Eagle Flight VR is a multiplayer VR game where players take the role of eagles. In the conference, we saw two teams play a match of Capture the Flag, in which you have to bring a dead rabbit back to your nest. The game looks very fast, so I'll be interested to see how many motion-sick members of the games press we'll see sitting near their booth. We then saw a long section of gameplay from For Honor, which is coming out on February 14th, 2017. Celebrate Valentine's Day by killing a samurai. Those armor textures look oh so nice. Thankfully, the game looks much less like Rise and much more like a mashup of Dark Souls and Assassin's Creed. And the fact that we dove right into Viking stuff is exactly what Nikki wanted. More boat games! And while I do like the setting, I wonder how much just wandering into sword battle after axe battle will hold my attention. We'll have to wait and see. Moving on, and the Star Trek VR game got a debut trailer. The game is called Bridge Crew, but instead of seeing awesome gameplay, we saw OG Star Trek actors across the generations play it and tell us how cool it was. It didn't look that cool though, but that's because most of the trailer was watching a hand press a button and actors just sitting in comfy chairs. Which, admittedly, is the plot of nearly every Star Trek episode. We'll see how that one turns out. Moving on, an indie darling, Grow Home, is getting a sequel called Grow Up, which will see Bud the robot growing plants and hang gliding in order to reach the moon. Mark Serrels is gonna be pissed. It seems to be less climbing and more falling. That game drops August this year. A mashup of Trials and Blood Dragon was announced and then released straight away on PC, PS4, and Xbox One. We will also check that game out on Pocket on Friday. Next up was the Assassin's Creed film, and Michael Fassbender looks like shit. But apparently that's executive producer Frank Marshall. Old Fassbender told us the movie will feature a new hero and story mixed with elements that fans will know and love. We were then shown a few clips from the film and behind the scenes. It will release on the 21st of December this year. Watch Dogs 2 was up next. And we got to see part of the new game world, which looks to be a very faithful recreation of San Francisco, plus a few of the new high-tech toys we can expect to play with. It releases on November 15th this year on Xbox One, PC, and PS4, and those playing on PlayStation will receive all planned DLC at least 30 days earlier. There's also going to be a Watch Dogs movie, but old Fassbender had nothing to say about that. Finally, Ubisoft revealed a new IP called Steep. This one combines sort of extreme sports with open world. The game will allow players to explore and enjoy a range of action sports around the Swiss Alps while finding the best moments to photograph or film and share online. One of my favorite gaming experiences was playing Cool Borders with my mate Ben Jennings. Hi Ben, back when we were in school. I have not enjoyed a single winter sports game since then. If Steep is as good as Ubisoft are saying it is, I might have to find Ben and organize another sleepover. Alright, moving on now to Sony, who of course need no introduction, except for a full orchestra and choir, and beatboxing. This led directly into gameplay from God of War 4, featuring yet another character from our childhood who's grown old and beardy. The gameplay shows an axe-wielding Kratos traversing a snowy mountain and teaching his kid to hunt, and then presumably to orgy. Giggity. We saw a new trailer for The Last Guardian, and we finally received a release date coming out on October 25th. So I was wrong about the release date, but now Bajo has to eat my beard. Moving on and staying with the forests and snowy mountains theme, we saw more from Horizon Zero Dawn with cyborg dinosaurs. There are a number of game mechanics, including mechanical bull riding, ultimate balloon popping, some impressive hair physics, plus it looks like there will be dialogue options, similar to the Mass Effect or now FIFA 17 series. Quantic Dream, famous for cinematic choose-your-own-adventure style games such as Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls, showed off Detroit Become Human, a sci-fi game that tells the story of a human-like artificial intelligence. The game's gone all FIFA 17 by including a bunch of dialogue options that could affect the outcome of the game. Resident Evil 7 was up next and showed lots of gross stuff, death, decay, and it's 100% playable in VR. Cannot wait to strap that to my face. Apparently the game is a clean slate and returns to its roots for the series. It releases on January 24th, 2017, but if you have PS Plus, you can play a demo right now. And speaking of PlayStation VR, the headset will launch on October 13th in the US for $399 sweet US dollars. No word yet if that will be the same release date here in Australia. There will be 50 games available to play at launch, including Farpoint, which looks to be a sci-fi thriller in space. For your face! The Criterion and DICE PSVR project titled Star Wars Battlefront X-Wing Mission shows some juicy intergalactic dogfighting. Batman Arkham VR is launching later this year. I may have to buy a VR. And a first-person version of Final Fantasy 15. Next up was a fast-paced action dogfighter. Oh no, wait. No, that's Call of Duty. Honestly, the game looks pretty exciting to play, but I wonder how much of this is scripted. The gravity grenade looks fun to use, I guess. Some of the Modern Warfare remaster was also shown, which many consider to be the best COD. But honestly, it seems like most people are just excited for that game and staying with games that are great and deserve remasters. The first